DJ Metal Craig of Craig's Metal Storm here, and I have one of the members of VUlnificus with me today. Hey, how's it going? Would you like to introduce yourself and what position you do in the band? And hopefully I got the band name right.
Pronounce the name correctly. My name is Eston Brown. I do the vocals in VUlnificus. I'm pretty much the last man standing as far as original members are concerned. Thanks for having me on.
You ready for the first question, buddy?
Yes, sir. Let's
Hey,
fire
just
away.
checking. Please go back in the history of VUlnificus and how the band all got started.
VUlnificus got started on Halloween of 2021. It originally started as a two-piece uh, kind of internet project. Me and the former member we started the project just trading messages online. We wanted to create some like old school brutal death music. It's something that was kind of the same like all the other bands that were around at the time, but we wanted to add our own little flavor to it. We put out the first EP in nomination that came out on Black Friday 2021. And then right after that, we went straight into the second EP, like the very next month, we started writing and doing the second EP, which was Invocation. We did that. That came out in June 2022. And then we had some differences, so we went our own separate ways. And the band was a little bit on a small hiatus while I searched for more members to keep the band name going. Then I recruited Jameson Parker from Prophecy of Suffering. I recruited Evan from Dead and Dripping and Mike from Utter Scorn to join the band. And then recently, maybe about a year or so ago, I recruited Jason McLean on drums for the new reincarnation of the band, Magnificus. Um, the EP that we put out in 2023, November 2023, is titled Inextricable, and that features the first lineup with real drums and the first lineup with me, Jameson, and Evan all together. So, and then that leads us to today, where we're on the eve of releasing our first full-length record titled Inclination, and that'll be coming out October 10th on Comatose Music.
Right on, buddy. And just so you know, I actually jammed the splits you guys did, the four-way split. That one is
Dope,
absolutely sick and awesome. But before we get
awesome,
into
thank
all
you.
that later on in the interview, I was just gonna ask you who came up with the Magnificus band logo.
I was a former member of the band. He came up with the logo. Me personally, um I like bands that have like one word that have like one words in the title. So he brought the idea to me about the band name and like everything like that. And so I was just like, all right, cool. As long as just it's something brutal, heavy, and it contains a lot of the stuff that I like to listen to. Um, so yeah, he sent the tracks to me, and those three tracks turned out to be their nomination EP. That whole EP came together probably about a week. So he sent me the tracks, I recorded the vocals, and then we had it all mixed and mastered. Like I said, we started the band on Halloween of 2021, and the first EP came out on Black Friday. So it was a quick turnaround time.
Right on, buddy. This next one's a bit of a tricky one, but a good one to ask. Who, how did you guys come up with the band name Magnificus?
The former member came up with it by reading the medical dictionary. And so I never heard anything like it before. So I had to do my own research on it. I was like, yeah, this is a perfect description of the music that we have. Vulnificus is pretty much a flesh-eating bacteria that you get from swimming in warm seawater with an open wound.
Who's all not with you today from the Magnificus band lineup, and what instruments do they play?
the member who's no longer in the band, his name is Wilson. Like I said, as we started as a two piece. So I just did the vocals and the lyrics, and he did everything else, the drum programming, the guitar, and the bass.
Okay, but is that the current lineup for that band? Like on the new album? That's the lineup I wanted to talk about.
Oh, okay. Well, the lineup now is me on vocals, Jameson on guitar, Mike from Utter Scorn, he's on bass, and Evan, he's on guitar, but he did the drums on the album. And Jason McLean, the current drummer that we have, he joined while we were in the process of recording the album.
Cool, man. Thank you for elaborating on that a bit. This next one's a good one. Where did you guys come up with the album title for Inclination?
Inclination is the title of one of the tracks on the album. It's the title of one of the tracks on the EP that we put out in Inextricable. And I just thought it was a very fitting title for the album being that it's the first one. And so given the definition of inclination, I just thought it was a great way to express where I wanted to go with the music. Um, yeah, I feel like it was the best expression for where I wanted to go with the music.
With Inclination being released on October 10th, 2025 via Comatose Music, where can the album be pre-ordered or purchased?
You could pre-order and purchase the album on Comatose Music. You go on Comatose Music. Pre-orders are up for right now. Um, we don't have any CDs available. All of the previous releases, all the CDs are sold out. But if you want some merch, we got some merch on the website. We got these shirts right here available for purchase. And we have some other stuff available to purchase. You can go on our website. It's VUlnificusBDM.bandcamp.com, or you go to VUlnificusBDM.com.
If you're okay with it, can I get you to talk about one of the songs I jammed off the album when checking the album out?
Sure, sure.
Who came up with the ideas for the song Malfeasance? Hopefully I got the name right.
You said who came up with the title or who came up with the song?
Like the ideas for the song, like the themes and concepts behind it.
Um, so that song was written pretty much by Evan. We split the duties of the songs on the album. So Jameson wrote some songs, Evan wrote some songs, and then I just added my input on certain songs that I kind of wanted to go a certain way to fit the vocals that I had in place. But for Malfeasance, that song was mainly written by Evan. Um, yeah, that song was written by Evan. He did the guitars. He wrote the guitars for that song. He wrote the drum parts for that song. I just contributed the lyrics and the vocals. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much how it all came together. I don't really get too um I don't really get too dictator. I'm not a dictator when it comes to songwriting and creating. So it's kind of just like I tell them like what I express like how I would like the song to go or what it should be like. And the guys just kind of put their own spin on it.
Right on, man. Just so you know that that song of the album is absolutely sick, brutal, and awesome. I love it.
Thank you. That's one of my favorite songs off the albums. The lyrics on that is pretty much about it's pretty much about just deception. This is the whole album as a whole kind of follows the concept that was on Invocation.
Right on. This next one's a really good one. I asked some of the bands, how does it feel being a part of Comatose Music and Imperative PR?
Feels great. Feels like the talents is finally being noticed. I appreciate being welcomed by Steve. Shout out to Steve. I appreciate being given a chance and an opportunity to showcase the music to more ears. The exposure by Imperative to bring our music out to the masses. people who are not really entirely well versed in the genre of music, them being exposed to that type of music. And it feels good. I hope that the album really touches people the way that I would like it to touch people. I hope that a lot of people understand and see where we're going with the music. And I'm very, very grateful for everybody who's been there since day one and all the people who's going to come along when the music is finally released.
Cool. This next one's a really good one. Who designed the album art for Inclination?
Album art was designed by Power and Guttural Art. He's done shirt designs for us before. We've pretty much been using Power and Ricky Powell since day one. He did the cover art for the first, all three EPs. Um, and so I just felt like it was only right to continue the trend.
Right on. Just wanted to let you know the album art is absolutely sick, awesome, and amazing. I love it.
Yeah, I wanted to go with something that was a little bit uh disgusting, to kind of bring out the artistic, the vision of what I had for the music. I wanted something that was very obscure looking, but at the same time, just wanted to keep within the same framework of just keeping it heavy and old school. And so I feel like, you know, some of my favorite bands, like Putridity and Cannibal Corpse and Immolation and bands like that, I felt like that artwork definitely got the point across.
This next one is going to take you back down memory lane a little bit for your discography. Can I get you to talk about the splits you did with Horror, Terror, Bruxum, and Corpse Putrefaction?
Or Profanation. Yeah, that split was pretty cool. I enjoyed sharing that split with all those three bands. Course Profanation, if I remember, they're from Peru, and Bruxum is from Canada, and Hard Terror, I believe he's from Mexico. And yeah, I really enjoyed that split um, because it was good exposure for all three of the bands, ours included, and I really enjoyed it. I was exposed to the band's music, so it was an honor being on the split with them, and hopefully we'll be able to actually meet up in person. We've talked online. We've talked online in the past, um, but it'd be cool to actually see them in person, hopefully at a show or something like that. But the split was really good. I believe it came out on a label in Mexico or Peru, if I recall correctly, and it was released. It also got released with a limited edition box set too that came with stickers and a poster and stuff like that. So I definitely enjoyed that release because of how it was done, how it was treated, and just a different type of
Right
different
on.
type of different type of feeling seeing like holding it in your hands, seeing the music and playing it through the CD players. It's definitely different special feeling.
Cool, man. This next one's a really good one. It's one of my favorite songs off the split by you guys. What is the ideas behind the song The Reportable Mind?
The reprobated the reprobated mind. Um, Pretty much that song is how do I put this? The song was influenced by a Bible verse. So um I just took the Bible verse and I just created a lyrical um musical interpretation of it. Um yeah, it's based off of a Bible verse. A few verses actually. Romans chapter 1, verse 20, all the way to the end of the chapter, just based on that. So basically, the song is about how God pretty much turned away from human beings because they turned away from Him.
That leaves us with three more questions for the interview. And I'll need a couple of station IDs from you if we have time to fit them in.
You say you got, I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I said we have three more questions for the interview, and then if I got time to fit it in, I'll need a couple of station IDs from you after the three questions.
Sure, sure thing, sure thing.
What are the band's immediate music career goals?
The goals of the band be to play shows with bands that we're influenced by and look up to, and hopefully one day just be amongst some of the bands that people look at in the genre as some of the best, malignancy, immolation, suffocation, just just be up there with some of the great bands, have people when people think about us, they think of us as a band that always did what we wanted to do. We didn't follow no trends. We didn't follow, what was popular at the time. We did, and we played the music that we always wanted to play, and just be respected by all the bands that we like and we listen to, and just touch people all across the globe, from America to Africa to Antarctica, wherever it is metal on the planet. Hopefully, our music gets to touch those areas and people understand that we do this for the love of it.
And this next one is a really good one. Who are the band's musical influences?
Deeds of flesh, immolation, suffocation, cannibal corpse. Um, every member they have their own set of influences. Hate Eternal. Even the bands that I was in previously, they kind of have an influence just because there was so many things that I learned just from being in the bands that I played in. Um, so I think all of the previous band members that I had the chance to play with, I learned a lot from everybody. Um, yeah, and I would say that's it. Malignancy, um, just a lot of bands from the late '90s, early 2000s. I would say all of those bands, and Morbid Angel. Um, there's just influences far and wide, and so we try to do our best to incorporate it in the music, but not sound like a carbon copy of them.
Right on. Before we get into the last question interview, I just want to let you know I've seen Haiti Churl four times. The last time I mentioned his other project with his wife, alas, and he wouldn't
Yeah,
stop talking to me for almost 2 hours because of that one. And I've interviewed Ron Katchnick from Malignancy twice. The first interview I got an hour and 41 minutes for. So when we did a short interview via Zoom, that was 54 minutes, two parts.
awesome, awesome. Yeah, Ron and Danny, those are probably Malignancy was one of the first brutal death metal bands that I heard when I first started getting into the genre. So that's a band that I've seen the most and probably the most influenced by just in my vocal delivery and the tone and everything like that. I've played shows with Malignancy a few times over the years, and so it's just one of the great bands. I just hope to be up in that category soon.
That leaves us with the last question interview, and then we'll do the station IDs. What new banners do you have on the Volnificus front? As in anything we might have missed in this interview?
Yeah, so in about 2 weeks, we're gonna be playing our 11th show, I believe. We're gonna be playing in Thornton, Colorado. We're gonna be playing with Cordyceps. We just released a new album, Hell Inside. We'll be playing with uh, Prophecy of Suffering, my guitarist, other band. They just released a video last week or so, and we're gonna be playing with Epileptic Avulsions. They played our first show that we ever did, so we're pretty much going back to the scene of the crime. That's when we played Trailside Saloon. That was where we had our first show. That was in November 2023, first show of our first tour. So it's gonna be a special time. That show is going to be on August 23rd. We got tickets available right now for purchase. So that we get, I hope that we get to see some people that we saw last time. That was a really great show. Thank you for Zach. and Swinging News Productions for helping us out with that show. Um, the band on its own is it's not like most bands. We're I live on the East Coast, but the rest of the members live out west. So it's gonna be good to see the guys again.
Right on. And that leaves us now with the station IDs. The first one is, hey, this is Eston of VUlnificus, and you're listening to Mangled Music Radio. Whenever you're ready.
Hey, this is Eston from VUlnificus. Sorry.
The other part was Mangled Music Radio, and you're listening to.
Hey, this is Eston, vocals of Omnificus, and you're listening to Mangled Music Radio.
And the second station ID is for Craig's Metal Storm. You can come up with whatever you want in that one.
Say that again.
You can come up with this, whatever you want for the station ID for Craig's Metal Storm. But if you want to use one that we already did, you can do, hey, this is Eston of VUlnificus, and listening to Craig's Metal Storm.
Hey, this is Eston, vocals of Omnificus, and you're listening to Craig's Metal Radio Storm. Tune in.
Thank you for the time and thank you for the interview.
Thank you very much. When is this interview going to be posted?